everybody, Miss Janine here. Today's story is Turtle's Race with Beaver, and it's a Native American tale. This version is by Joseph Bruchac. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. At any rate, he writes a lot of Native American tales, adopts a lot of them too, so he might be somebody you might be interested in looking into if you enjoy this story. Story starts like this. Turtle lived by a pond. He had lived there all of his life. All through the year, he lived at the pond, and he didn't need to go anywhere because his pond had plenty of food. It had rocks for her to sun on and everything she needed. And as the weather got colder, every year she would dive down to the bottom of the pond and bury herself in the mud, where she would stay until spring, when she'd rise to the surface, lay on some rocks and warm up, and begin the cycle again. Well, one year, everything was going as normal. When winter was approaching, she realized, time to go down to the bottom of my pond. And she dove down and got into the mud and soon was fast asleep. Well, not too long after that, a beaver came, and the beaver was looking for a new home. When he saw Turtle's pond, he thought, oh, this is perfect. Oh, this is just what I need. Perfect, 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 perfect. So he set to work chewing on trees and falling trees, and he built a nice dam. Now, once the dam was built, the water level in the pond began to go higher and higher and higher. He built himself a nice house, which is called a lodge, and then he settled in. Ah, yes, the perfect way to spend a winter. Well, when spring came, Turtle came out from under the mud as usual, and she rose to the surface. She noticed right off it took longer to swim to the surface. When she broke out of the surface of the water, she looked around and said, What? What happened here? My pond. Why, my rocks are underwater. What happened? Just about then, she heard a loud whack, and out of nowhere came Beaver. Hey, what are you doing in my pond? Get out of my pond. Oh, no, this is my pond. I've lived here all my life, but it's a big pond. I'd be happy to share it with you. No, I'm not going to share it. This is a beaver pond. Look, over there's the dam, and there's my lodge. This is a beaver pond. I'll tell you what, let's have a race. Whoever wins the race gets to keep the pond. The other one has to go away. Well, Turtle didn't really want to race, but she could tell that Beaver wasn't going to give up. So she said, all right, I'll race you. I'll meet you here tomorrow morning. And so Turtle went off to prepare for the race. Beaver went around and he invited all the animals in the forest to come and watch the race. Well, the next morning, the whole pond, all the way around, were animals watching. And they decided, we're going to race from this end of the pond to that end of the pond. All right, said Turtle, I'm ready. It was decided that Bear would be the one to say go. So they lined up, and Bear raised his giant paw, and just as he said go, Turtle stretched out her neck and bit into Beaver's tail, and she held on. Beaver jumped in the water and started swimming, and Turtle held on. Now, when they were halfway across the pond, it was obvious to all the animals that Beaver was winning, but they started cheering. The big animals were cheering for Beaver. The little animals were cheering for Turtle. When they got 3/4 of the way across the pond, Turtle bit down a little bit harder to hang on, and by that time, all of the animals were beginning to cheer for Turtle, but still, it was obvious. Beaver was in the lead. When they got to the far end of the pond, Turtle knew it was now or never. So Turtle chomped down on Beaver's tail with a crunch. When Beaver did that, Turtle flipped up his tail. At the top of the flip, Turtle let go. She flew through the air and landed, spunk, right on the ground, and quickly, well, not too quickly because she is a turtle, made her way across the finish line. And all of the animals cheered and said, "Hooray for Turtle! Turtle wins the race! Turtle wins the race!" Turtle was excited, but Turtle looked for Beaver and said, "You can still stay in the pond. There's plenty of room." But Beaver didn't say a word. He just disappeared. Well, eventually the beaver's dam fell apart and the water level went down into the pond until it was back to normal. And once again, Turtle had her nice rocks in the sun. She had everything she wanted, and she was a very happy turtle. As for Beaver, well, he went to find another pond. And when he found the other pond, guess what? There was a turtle living there too. But this time, Beaver came up to the turtle and said, "Excuse me, would you mind sharing the pond with me?" And the turtle said, "Oh no, that would be just fine." And so, Turtle number 2 and Beaver shared that pond for years to come. And that's the story of Turtle's Race with Beaver. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you'd like to read it, it'll be available through curbside pickup. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the story, there's a lot of other stories that are adapted by this particular author. So check it out at the library's webpage. Look for curbside pickup. Thanks. Bye.